is Shelia Marie with Let's Talk. Hi, I'm Shelia.
I'm Jocelyn.
And we are doing a episode called Let's Talk. We want to just talk about subjects that might benefit people. So it's kind of random stuff, but deep. And here we go.
I feel like they mostly all tie together, but yeah.
Yeah. Self-help stuff. If you don't want help, scroll on. Yeah. So the first subject we have today is the fact that you have to really practice self-care because you can't give from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm.
That's really hitting me close to home right now. I've got a lot of things on my plate, and I'm a giver by nature. I just am. It's my intended use on this planet, for lack of a better term. So, I'm having to really work with myself to realize that I have to back up from everything and make sure and refill me so that I can have the most to give.
Yeah, you can't give from a cup that's empty, for sure. And I think we wrote in here, God, the universe, the powers that be, whatever it is, will never turn off the faucet. It's an endless supply of energy, stamina, love, You'll never have a cup that's empty that is just going to always be empty, It'll always be refilled.
Yeah.
You just have to ask, take care of yourself before you can give to others.
Absolutely. And I believe when you reach out to, listen, you can call it whatever you want to. You can call it God, the universe, the powers that be, your higher power. I used to kind of didn't have, I don't know, I mean, to say I didn't have respect for it isn't correct, but I kind of would just disregard like the 12-step type thing. Because they were always like, oh, the higher power, but like, now I get it. Like, it's not necessary to define the higher power for it to be there and be available to you. And I think it's pretty powerful, actually, to just think about reaching out to something that's bigger than you. You don't have to know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, does everybody get the feeling that they're being supported in sort of a maybe subconscious way, or
I think definitely not.
Or,
yeah.
No? Do you have to, it's something you have to tap into?
I mean, I think you have to be cognizant of something, because I know, I mean, I've lived a life where I wasn't tapping into anything. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that help was there. I was trying to do my own thing and be everything that I needed for me to be, and it's not. That was a joke in my life.
Yeah, it's unsustainable.
It wasn't for me. It definitely wasn't for me. I think it's important to recognize that there's help out there, and like for me, I look at it like, I think that I see a spiritual world just in my mind, that is like very supportive. And I reach out to anything and anyone that is an entity that can help me, that can support me, that can support my purpose. And I feel like if I'm asking for support for my purpose as a soul, it absolutely will come. I do it all the time now. And as a result, my life is very fulfilled with really amazing goodness.
Yeah. I mean, with the way that we've both started living, where we're just being guided. We're not in control. And yeah, we'll get into that. About we're not in
Go
control.
ahead. Go for it.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I've learned this. Sheila taught me a couple years ago. You know, the idea of control in your life is a complete facade. I mean, you have control over your actions. You have control over how you treat other people. But controlling
outcomes
is just, it's not possible. It's
a joke.
It's a joke. Yeah. You're not in control.
It's an absolute joke.
Yeah. Yeah. It's God who's in control, or, you know, the universe, or something more powerful than you. And once you, I mean, it's hard, but once you let go of that false security of controlling your life or whatever, it just becomes so much easier to live. Seriously.
It's pretty simple. It makes things pretty simple. And I'm not saying that it's easy, because we're so programmed in so many different ways.
Oh yeah, I mean, we both struggle with it on the daily. We're like trying to fix everything and solve everyone's problems and solve our own problems,
So
and then we have to remind ourselves, oh, it's so much easier when you just go with the flow, you know? It's just so much easier.
And for lack of a better word, back in help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, ask for help.
Yeah.
I tend to think of it in terms of God. And, you know I've talked about it in other videos that we've done, but to me, love, when I have thought through, picked this thing apart in every way imaginable. And I that's what this is about. Love reigns eternal. I believe love is the most powerful entity that there is. And so with that, love to me is God. Love reigns over everything. No, I don't care what you think. It's stronger than everything. It's more powerful than everything. It's in control.
Yeah.
But the thing about love is that it won't force itself on you. If you give it control, it is more powerful than anything. But you have to allow that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I feel like I'd go a step further from, God is love or whatever,
Yeah.
but to like, we are love,
Okay.
We're constantly emitting energy out into the world, to everyone, to the earth, all of it, to yourself, and whenever you work on that, like, I guess frequency of love and light, positivity, things like that, not in like not in a toxic positivity sort of way where it's just oh, my world is on fire, but I'm gonna pretend it's not,
Yeah.
You're still allowed to feel stress, anger, anxiety, everything, but when you look at it through a lens of love, it transmutes it into something energetically way stronger and better,
Yeah.
You know what I mean, though?
Absolutely. Yeah. I fully agree with that. I mean, I feel like when you allow love to reign in your life, in your mind, in your soul, okay, y'all, I'm old, so I use words. I mean, okay, I don't need to apologize for it, but it's like it flabbergasts me. I mean, like, it really is very overwhelming to me how simple it is, yet how we make it difficult because of our lack of willingness to let go. our lack of, to let go of that control that like you don't actually even have.
Yes.
I mean, you don't really have it. It's not, you're not in control of much.
Right.
And like you said before, I mean, you're in control of your own feelings, you know, how you choose to respond to something. You're in control of a lot of things as far as your own actions go, whether or not you allow thoughts to just run amok in your head,
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, kind of side note, but you are in control of your thoughts. And I know you know that, but I mean, I'm speaking just on behalf of everyone to recognize that you do control your thoughts. And when your thoughts are not promoting goodness for you, you need to override those.
Mm-hmm.
You need to override them with gratefulness. If you're thinking, you know, whatever it is, I suck as a person, whatever, I don't care what format it comes in, anything that carries a negative note with you, you need to rearrange that and say that in a better way, in a positive way, or not say that at all, whatever the message is. Maybe you need to change the message. You decide what happens up here. And I lived a long time in my life not recognizing that.
Yeah.
Just not really realizing that I have a choice about what I think about myself,
Mm-hmm.
about what I think about other people, about what I think, period.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I think whenever you have that, when your thoughts and your words don't really, how am I trying to say this? Like, your thoughts and your words, when they're so negative and bog you down, that is what your perception of reality
It
is.
becomes your perception, yes.
Yeah. And we've been talking about manifesting all the time, you know, speaking things into existence. When you keep your thoughts in check and the words you say and the actions you perform or whatever, it creates the world that you live in, you know?
Yeah.
You do have a choice to choose to live in a world that you enjoy, that you feel good about yourself and the people you have around you. But when you feel like your thoughts aren't your own, or you don't have control over them, it leaves a lot to, you know, I don't know, it you are just open to any and all energies, you know?
Yes.
You don't get to choose them anymore.
Or you don't choose them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're choosing not to choose them.
Mm-hmm.
You're choosing to just sit here and be a rag doll and let whatever comes along and tells you is or isn't be. And it's not a healthy way to live. It's not a mentally healthy, and it's not a mentally proactive way to live. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's, I've not thought of it in those terms, but mental proactiveness. You know, be proactive about what's going on in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you want? We have.
let me see this. Okay.
Oh yes, what we just talked about at the beginning about can't give from a cup that's empty.
Yes.
The universe, higher power, always provides for all you are intended to do, be, and become.
I 100% believe this. I believe that if there's an intention for your soul, that the universe will provide a way.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that, let's say, okay, I'm going to use an example that happened with me. I mean, I was really worried about how I was going to pay my mortgage. So it was just like, okay, if it doesn't get paid, if I'm praying, basically, that's what I call it when I reach out, whatever, I mean, I was raised Christian, and I do tend to put things in those terms, but you can change up the terms however you need to. So I'm in a position and I'm like, okay, my husband has just left. It's just me. We were already struggling financially. What am I going to do? Am I going to stay here? Whatever. So I'm like, do I need to look for a cheaper place? Do I need to figure out how to get out of this place into something that costs less? What am I supposed to do? And I was so keyed up about it and so anxious about it and losing sleep over it and sick. Just literally physically sick. And I got to a place to where I said, okay, you know what, Lord? Whoever is actually lording over everything, which I believe is love, all the powers that be, whatever, I'm open. I'm like, let me not knock you out just because I don't understand who you are. If you want me to stay in this house, you make sure these bills get paid. That does not mean that I'm just going to go get some chips and watch TV.
Right.
I'm looking for opportunities to make money. I'm looking for every opportunity and option that I have. But it's not up to me.
Yeah.
I had to let it go and say, you want me to stay here? You make it happen. I don't care. If I'm not supposed to be here, fine. Don't care.
Show me that. Yeah.
Move me out right along to wherever it is you want me to be. And literally just let it go. And I cannot tell you the financial opportunities that came my way. It was ridiculous. The work that came my way, I was working morning till night. It was good. It wasn't a bad thing. It took a lot, but the provisions kept coming. And that, I think, is where we need to be living.
Yeah.
Let go and let God.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't really have like a sturdy support system. They just struggle with, you know, maybe their family they're not very close with, or they don't have super close friends or whatever, and they feel like, I'm all alone, I have nobody, and I'm stuck in this position where, you know, I need a bill to be paid, or I need my car to start this morning, whatever, you know.
Right.
And they're like, well, I don't know how to fix that, so...
You fix it.
Yeah, exactly. This is just, it's so helpful to be able to reach out and ask for help, you know?
And it's
someone
there.
who loves you unconditionally, wants to help you, wants to see you succeed, you know? And you don't have to understand them to receive.
That is my biggest thing. That is the biggest message that I have. People think that they have to understand everything in order to receive the goodness that God has to offer, the universe, whatever, that entity has to offer. And I'm not knocking religion at all. I don't know who needs it and who doesn't need it. Personally, it gets in my way. I don't have to understand and have all the answers. That is not what this is about. I don't have to know anything except that I'm willing to let a higher power be in control of my days, of every minute of every day. And I'm telling you, every minute of every day of my life, it's just on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. You've been around me, you know. It's like I get up in the morning, I don't even know what I'm doing that day. And before the day is out, I have connected with so many people on levels I didn't try to plan that stuff out. I wasn't trying to do any of that. I really honestly don't care. All I care about is the fact that I believe that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a human. It doesn't matter to me. It honestly doesn't. I like to eat. I appreciate it when I get fed. But my life is not about supporting that. My life is not about supporting a roof over my head, a car to drive, food in my stomach. It's just not about that. And for me, it shouldn't be about that. It's more about me letting go. Because all of that stuff just comes by nature. It just happens. I have way more than I've ever had by not worrying about that stuff, by not making my life about that. My life is about doing good, spreading goodness and God's love or whatever. Again, the vagueness of it bothers some people. But, it's kind of not my problem to deal with.
No, yeah. Yeah, we all have our own points in life, and I do think it's all interconnected in its own ways, You have a goal to support as many people as you possibly can, and I do not have that goal, you know? Mine is something else, and I don't know what it is, but it's been really nice just existing and living and feeling fulfilled, living my life how I'm living it.
Yeah. Instead of feeling like,
I need the perfect career, I need to do this, and this in order to have this outcome, We've been talking about it a lot. It's, not about the outcome, but all that you're doing to get there, all the points that you learn, the process, it's just way more important than the outcome. I don't know, when you think about it, like, I just need to get through this to get to blank, maybe think about what blank is, and if you really align with that, and if you feel supported to get through all of that, if you feel like, I can do every single step of this on my own to get to blank without God's help, the earth's help, whatever. Maybe just do some introspection on what your real goals are,
Yeah, and I think it's important to, like you said, is that goal aligning with my soul? Is that a goal that got placed there because somebody told me that you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z? Or is that something that, feels like yes within yourself? And I think it's important that you even stated, my thing, I finally did recognize, I'm just a helper by nature. I feel like it's a gift and a burden all in one. It is my purpose. It's my purpose. I know it. I'm 58, so I have some years on you, and I have a lot to go on that I've learned over the years. I haven't always known this about myself. But that's my purpose. It's definitely not yours. It doesn't align with your soul and whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing. I think there was a time in my life when I was praying. I had 2 little girls, and I was reaching out to, at that time, what I perceived the powers that be was still very vague. I was not trying to put a label on it. I was just like, is there an entity out there that is in control of everything? is there an entity that is full of goodness, that's what you promote? Is there an entity, is there somebody that created me?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a purpose?
Yeah.
I mean, is there, I'm just asking. Don't know. I mean, clearly you didn't make it clear, so just.
Right, like you're seeking it out, so.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't know. Yeah.
So, and I didn't know, and I was praying, and I said, I feel like you, whoever it was I was talking to, God, whatever, I feel like you own it all, like you really are in control of all of it. So why am I'm praying to you, I'm asking you for help, and I am just struggling. I half the time don't have electricity. I have little kids. It was rough, and I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why is this it? Why is this the life I'm in? And a knowing spoke to me and said, I'm giving you everything you're asking for. You keep asking me to barely pay the rent, so I'm paying the rent.
Mm-hmm.
I need for you to ask for what you want. I relinquished control to just come intervene in your life, or this would not be your life.
Right.
So,
wow.
I need for you to ask for what you really want instead of continuing to ask to get by. So, I did that. It took me a few hours that night. I was really up most of that night thinking, what do I want? And in the process, I realized it was really hard to ask for what that's selfish.
When you do it for the first time, it's a bit intense. It is selfish.
It's not. No, it felt
selfish.
like that.
Yeah.
It felt like, ooh.
Yeah, I felt that before, yeah.
Yeah. So I worked through all of that, and I got to a place to where I asked for what I really was wanting, and he let me know, let me know in that process, listen, every desire that you have, I placed in you. You don't want what you want for no reason. You want what you want because that's how it's going to manifest the best you, and you're going to do the most good on this planet. So going after identifying what you want, being willing to receive what you want, and asking for what you want is like the little package of what changes everything and helps you to become the person that I created you to be.
Mm-hmm. Man, full acceptance. That's cool.
I love it.
Yeah, I also grew up Christian, or in a Christian family, so that's a different God that I've now accepted than what I thought existed when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
One that, wants you to follow all the rules and, be a perfect human and whatever, but I don't know if it's a different God or if I've just reestablished what I feel whenever I pray and receive,
Yeah.
But yeah, just feeling full acceptance, actually feeling like, oh, I'm doing a good thing, I'm a good person, I'm doing what God wants, whatever,
I feel like everybody that's reaching out to anything or anyone and all the things that we call it, I think it's all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, don't know. I mean, I'd like to say don't know, don't care. I do care.
It does. It has a level of mattering, but that kind of does tie back into, you don't have to figure all of it out, You're going to make yourself sick trying to figure out what happens at the end, or who am I actually praying to, and who is on my level and gonna level up with me, whatever. It's all just about, I don't know, how you feel about it.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like, our knowledge, good grief. Are you serious that you think your knowledge limits or gives permission to God? Really? I mean, that, to me, I'm like, that's ludicrous. I don't know. And I mean, I'm struggling with it right now because I don't want to discount somebody else's beliefs or whatever. Maybe people need to believe different things.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how your soul
is more conducive to, they're
like what works for your personal growth really matters. And that's what you need to be tapping into. What makes you the best human possible? That's what you need to be doing. And if that's in a, forgive the term, but a religious box, is because that's how I felt about growing up in religion. It boxed me. It was not good for me. Now, was it good for me to have that basis? Maybe it was important.
It was important because it happened,
Okay. All right, I can go with that.
Yeah. I don't know. All of it has a purpose.
It does. And again, I mean, I say some of what I'm saying right now because I don't at all want to discount somebody's belief system or what is helping them. I just know for my own self, and that's when I speak for is what has worked for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Yeah.
And just like you pointed out, I'm not me and you're not me and I'm not you. I'm me, and that's important to tap into me, but that doesn't mean that's what you need to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think we have different ideas. They're pretty similar, but we have different ideas of how the world works and different lifestyles and everything. But I think the reason why we work so well together is because we're both very open to other people's perspectives on life, and we're not really judgmental or, oh, you don't pray like me, you don't live
sure
like
not.
me, whatever. It doesn't matter. Because ultimately it does not matter. I really, really, truly believe that, like, our human bodies are just a vessel for our souls to interact with each other and experience the universe through its own perspective,
Yeah.
And so when you get caught up and hung up on like dumb human society shit, like, it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right, it doesn't fulfill me.
Yes.
But yeah.
And that's been true for me. I mean, it's just like there is an anxiety that goes along with trying to live any other way than my soul knows it needs to live. I mean, it's not good. It's not, no. It's a hard no. I've learned that. And that is a spiritual guidance. I know it. I don't really care what anybody says or thinks about that, because I am guided from a spiritual place, and it is the way that manifests in my life is that I do way more good than I can even imagine coming up with on my own. That's it. I am doing as much good as I feel like I possibly can as a human. And I'm tapped into something that I understand it. I don't even know how to put it in words. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any more questions. I don't. There's no part of me that's like, ooh, am I right? Is this right? Does this fit into this? No. Just don't have that. And that is where that true peace sets in.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
And there would be no
Ooh,
reason to.
Yeah. I think, that makes sense with what you said about peace is a choice, not a result. Happiness is a choice, not a result,
Boy, isn't that the truth? I mean, when that hit me, and I heard it from somewhere, it was a message, and then that was the words that I put it into, that happiness doesn't come to you.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from you. Period. Happiness comes from you. You cannot call happiness to you. It's a decision and a way of thinking in life and living that is amazing. But if you think that, okay, line up these things and then I'll be happy, no, that is not going to work. I can assure you that's not going to work, because happiness comes from within, not from without.
Mm. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
It's yours to exude.
Mm-hmm.
It's not yours to obtain.
Yeah. But what do you say about people who, can't find it within themselves to be happy?
Yeah. I feel like you have to really do some soul searching, and I was so unhappy for so long, and trying desperately not to really be happy. That wasn't really my goal, but just to not be miserable, not to be depressed, I think that you have to be in control of your thoughts. You have to choose to be in control of what you think about.
Yeah.
Let's go down. Can we go down like the list of the depression stuff? Yes. I'm literally going to just go down this list, because this is a 20-year wealth of information, including getting educated on how things affect people. Not only a bachelor's degree, but a master's degree on studying the human mind, how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So here, this is kind of in a nutshell. Steps to overcoming depression and unhappiness and all the things that holds hands with. Positive foods only. If what you're putting in your mouth, food and drink, you better be thinking about how that's going to affect your body and your mind tomorrow. It does have an effect. Pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because your brain's just made up of chemicals. When you have too much sugar or whatever, you crash. And then
for me, wheat, salt, sugar, I have to watch all my intakes.
Yeah.
I have to have enough of it, but not too much. So there's that. 30 minutes of cardio a day. You got to get some oxygen to that brain of yours. Your brain without oxygen is a different mindset. Period.
Mm.
Give yourself 30 minutes of cardio a day and see what happens. You are forcing oxygen into your brain. If you are too unmotivated to exercise, scream in a pillow. Scream. It forces oxygen into your brain. Your brain is an organ and it needs oxygen.
Mm.
When it's deprived of oxygen, it runs amok in not a good way. It becomes lethargic. It's just not good. 30 minutes of cardio or screaming in a pillow a day. You can choose. Gratefulness. Be grateful. find something to be grateful for. I was the queen of ungratefulness. I was so entitled. Wasn't grateful for anything.
Yeah.
Didn't know how to figure out how to get there.
Yeah. Something I've started doing in the mornings. I'll just write down a couple of things that I'm grateful for today, right now. About anything. Literally anything.
What? You got an example? What are you grateful for?
Literally anything. Air conditioning, you know?
Okay.
Having a bed.
Ooh.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Eyelashes. It doesn't
Thank
matter.
you.
You know?
Yeah. Food. Access to it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sunshine today.
Okay.
Snow today. Rain today.
You can be grateful. You can.
There's just a million things to be grateful for.
Do it.
And out loud kind of makes it a game changer.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
I feel like if you just say it as one of your first words that you say in the morning.
Yeah.
That helps me a lot, at least.
Okay. Override negative thoughts with positive ones or with gratefulness. You got a negative thought? Override it. Your mind cannot think on more than one thing at a time. Override it. Do not allow negative thoughts to just run around in your head. Don't allow it. Let go of what keeps you sad. I was upset for years about my upbringing, about whatever. Just get over it. Let it go. Stop holding on to it.
But you're so past it now that you can say that.
Right. I was stuck in it, and I did not want to let it go. And I've got a picture of a little girl holding balloons. Just let it go. Let it go. Yeah, it is. Listen, all of this is way easier said than done. It's simple. It ain't easy.
Right. Of
Do
course.
it.
Especially when you're in depression, I mean.
Absolutely. Depression will tell you can't get off the couch, but the truth is that you decide whether you put one foot in front of the other or not. It's a liar. It is. It'll tell you that it's in control of you. It only has the control you give it. And again, simple, not easy. Sit on your pity pot as needed. Set a short time frame. And then get off and flush. Don't hang on to all that. But you can't ignore it. When you're being wronged or you're a victim, you can't ignore that fact. Just don't dwell on it to the point that it's running your life 24/7.
Right.
Set a time frame. Be willing to accept goodness. That one was hard for me. I realized that it's kind of hard to ask for goodness in your life when you're not willing to accept it. I'm not worthy. I'm not whatever. All the things. You have to be willing to accept goodness. Then you have to reach out to the powers that be and ask them for it.
Why is that such a tough one?
To ask?
To be willing to receive.
Ooh. I mean, really, why is it? I've gotten past so many things, it's hard for me to back up. And maybe that's something that if people can put input, comments, whatever, that we can reply to or even have any introspection on.
Yeah, because that one still kind of messes me up. It's like, I don't know, like good people in my life who want to support me. And I'm like, oh, no, thank you. Just out of simply like, cannot accept that.
Yeah.
Cannot receive that.
And I think this is tough for humanity in general. You know, if it's a struggle for you. I mean, some people grew up in a different environment and that's not a struggle for them and they just expect it. But yeah, is it an innate thing? You know, is it a thing about humans that would just have a hard time accepting great things?
Well, no, I think it's like you said. Some people don't struggle with that.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a childhood thing, you know?
Maybe
accepting felt burdensome because accepting something as a child was just selfish, or
I grew up with a lot of the guilt and shame type stuff. And I'm not saying that it was my parents that did that or my religion that did that. I don't know what did that, but I grew up feeling that way, like it wasn't okay to. Well, and we really did live in poverty. So maybe expecting something that you weren't going to get was hard. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a thing for self-introspection to work on and overcome. Because listen, if you're breathing and living, you deserve great things. We all deserve great things. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're living under a bridge or in a mansion. You deserve, what we deserve, I believe, is for our soul to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Now, we go about that sometimes from ways that don't fulfill our soul. Like, oh, if I just had this, or if I just whatever. And maybe that's not true. But, I don't know. It's definitely a good thing to consider, but you got to get to the point of accepting goodness for goodness to be able to come. So,
yeah.
It's ours to overcome. And I think if you're suicidal, which I was for so many years, recognizing that you can't escape your own soul. If you can't escape it. If you go on to whatever's next, you're still you. You still have the same things. So my thing is to accept the challenges in your life as a growth opportunity. If you accept challenges as a growth opportunity, you're going to view it different, you're going to do it different, and you're going to become an overcomer. That's it. That's my whole thing. I mean, that's all. That's 20 years of burdens, education, putting tools in my toolbox, coming up with how the heck to not be depressed. I've done all of those things. I'm not depressed. I haven't been depressed in 10 years. Never thought I'd be able to say that. Wanted to. Was like going to do everything I could. Die trying, if that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Didn't know if you could overcome it. I overcame it. Don't know if everybody can. I did it. I would recommend you trying it.
Yeah.
It's worth the effort. And if nothing else, it gives you hope.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And, I mean, you've given me this advice whenever I was depressed and I don't know, honestly, like, it can be overwhelming. I get that. Doing all of these things all day when you feel like doing nothing every day feels really difficult. So just, like, pick something.
Yeah.
Honestly, just pick something and work on it.
Keep
until
at it.
That's done. Because all of this stuff is just habits. I mean, your whole life is a habit. You know, forming habits, you just choose if they're healthy or negative, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, depression's hard.
Well, and all the challenges, I mean, this fits so many things to me. It's just, there's so many aspects to living an abundant life that to me, this addresses most of it, if not all of it.
Yeah. Mental, physical, spiritual aspects.
Yeah.
All wrapped into one.
Yeah.
It's sick. Yeah.
So give us comments. Let us know what you think. We love feedback. We're into, trying to learn and grow with other people. We're just throwing out what has worked for us. And we appreciate all you, anybody who's listening, looking, sharing. If you know anybody who struggles with depression, please share anything that you can. It was so burdensome for me to be depressed for so long. And I don't know why mine did it the way it did, because I was actually suicidal when I became undepressed. I mean, I had reached, and I've been suicidal like so many times. Not to make light of it, but it was ridiculous when I look back on it. I mean, to have gotten to that final space, to where I put all this stuff into place and had a breakthrough. So you can do it. Keep trying. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.